Ooh! Slap Squad, welcome back. Today, we're going over the weirdest fight potentially in Power Slap history. What fight am I talking about? Well, the fight back on Thursday in Abu Dhabi. We had the current champion and the man on the screen, Mr. John Davis, the Machine. Now, the interesting thing about this fight is during the match, I'm talking about maybe, what was it, round one? When it was his turn to strike, something very weird happened to his arm. John hasn't really had, he's not a champion that's been very, very active. I went back to try to find some of his earlier fights. They're not many. I think he hasn't had a title defense in about a year, I want to say. And I believe that it has something to do with the incident involving his arm. So, what am I talking about? Well, let's play a bit of this weird match. And his opponent, I apologize, was none other than Isaih Quinones. Isaiah, I love you, brother. We got to figure out this flinching. Sometimes it's just justifiable and sometimes it's not. I think the refs be picking on you from time to time. I don't know. Either way, let's look at this slap and then we'll get into Isaiah a bit.
With the work boots on.
2.
And do y'all see that? It's something going on with his arm. It's like when he makes it, it's so weird. It's like when he gets ready to slap, it's like he tries to slap with his shoulder, like his shoulder is trying to come over and force his arm over. He does that for the entirety of this match up until my man Isaiah puts him to sleep. And yes, the knockout was nasty. It was crazy. Let's just say John was one of the ones, unfortunately, that was throwing up the west side. I'm just saying. He started throwing up the west side, chunking up the piece. On the other hand, and you know what that means, my man was out, okay? The current champion is Isaiah. I don't know, quite frankly, what's going on with the refs and Isaiah. I remember when I saw his first match on, I think it was Power Slap 8. This man got called for flinching so many times, you would not believe it. And sometimes, I don't think that he was always flinching. And so people need to, I want somebody to explain to me this. Like, if you're standing straight and they're getting ready to strike you and you start doing this where you're like kind of shaking a bit, right? Like you're kind of like bracing for the impact, and then they smack you, I don't feel like that's a flinch. You know, I do not, especially off of the last video. If you guys watched the last video with the crazy Hawaiian, with the way he dips his head down, right? Isaiah wasn't doing that. It's more of like tensing up and like kind of shaking a bit, and then he gets slapped. And I don't believe that's a flinch, but for whatever reason, they call it on this man quite often. I mean, way more than I feel like they've called it on other people. Not saying any names, Paige, but I'm just saying. So, Isaiah, man, we got to figure this out. Sometimes it is, you are flinching a bit, but I feel like in 80% of the replays that they have, it's not really flinching. To me, it's just more like I'm tensing up in anticipation for the slap. So, John Davis, I don't know what's going on with his shoulder. I know they were talking about a bit about him having like dislocated his shoulder in the middle of him like trying to, I guess like swing. They felt like he was trying to pop his shoulder back in place. And to me, that not only is that a sign of like really mental toughness, but man, I don't know if he needs to go get surgery. And I hope that the UFC, after this particular fight, that they watch this and say, hey, there's something seriously wrong with Isaiah's shoulder. I'm sorry, not Isaiah. There's something seriously wrong with John's shoulder. What we need to do is make a rematch on this, but John needs to go into surgery to fix his shoulder permanently so that this isn't an issue, because these slaps were awful. I feel like they had no power. Yeah, Isaiah's face is red, you know what I mean? And there were decent slaps, but I felt like he generated no power. If you watch John's highlights from before and after, like at this fight, he's not even hitting the same. He's not even hitting the same. His technique is weird when he's trying to strike. His measure is technique, is picture perfect, is beautiful, but his delivery on the end of that is horrendous. I have never seen anybody try to slap with their shoulder And that's what it looked like this man was doing. This is one of the nastiest knockouts I've ever seen.
Closer. I would agree with you. 2.
Woo! And that was it, guys. That was all he wrote. That was all he wrote. So that was the fall of the champion. Unfortunately, I feel like he could have won if his shoulder was not so banged up. There was definitely something going on with that shoulder. So with that being said, let me know what you guys thought of this match if you saw it. Let me know if you believe that Isaih truly won. I guess he did because he knocked him out. But I guess what I'm trying to say is there some sort of handicap that Isaih got because of John's shoulder? So let me know in the comment section what you think down below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see y'all on the next one. Peace.